Welcome into NBA Now here on the 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. And Jimmy, we are on Kawhi Watch. Welcome into NBA Now. I am James Yoder with Jimmy Crowther. We are breaking down all the latest NBA rumors here on the 4th of July, starting with Kawhi Leonard. Jimmy, we are 6 days into free agency now, 5 days, and still no word from Kawhi Leonard. What is the latest?
It literally feels like it's been a month already that free agency has started. Like, I haven't slept since free agency opened on June 30th. I've been in the office all day, every day, just bringing you guys all the latest news and rumors. Of course, everything now hinges on Kawhi Leonard. He's the last big domino to fall, I guess you could say, in honor of 4th of July. He's the last big firework to pop off here in NBA free agency. And the newest report is that his decision may not come for, quote, a few more days. So who knows what that means?
I think no one knows anything at this point. Nope. I'm starting to believe the Illuminati-style conspiracy theories that he's just trying to make sure the Lakers aren't any good next year so the Toronto Raptors can have an easier time in the finals. I'm hearing all kinds of funny stuff out there, including the crazy rumor that we're not even going to get into that Jeannie Buss's nephew might be the one leaking things on Twitter and on Reddit. So that is the word there on just kind of where we come at. Chris Carter saying one thing, Jalen Rose saying one thing, a lot of rumors out there in Kawhi. But take us through, Jimmy, the top 3 teams for Kawhi. No surprise to anybody.
Yeah, and obviously this is not the order. It is not 1, 2, 3 here. We don't know what the order is. I'm starting to lean that the Clippers are becoming a distant third slowly but surely. I think the Lakers are creeping into that top spot, and then, of course, the Toronto Raptors as well. You can't rule out a return to Toronto where he literally just won a title. So it makes a lot of sense that he could end up going back. It would not surprise me. But look, man, the Lakers, they've got Anthony Davis. They've got LeBron James. I mean, they have 2 superstars. It would be by far, I mean, not even close to the 2 best players Kawhi has ever played with. Like, I know, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not disrespecting Tim Duncan, not disrespecting Tony Parker. They're not AD, and they're not LeBron James. So, obviously, there's some intrigue there, but we just can't rule out a return to Toronto. He was just in Canada yesterday. I mean, we saw a helicopter flying around following his SUV. So, look, at the end of the day, nobody really knows where he's going, but there are 3 teams for sure in the mix. We know that much.
Yeah, and from my perspective, I just am having a tough time understanding why Kawhi would want to go. He is much like your man Dirk Nowitzki. He has proven that the super team era does not need to happen to win a title. You know, he is one of the few NBA champions, maybe of all time, that's been like a single superstar to win a title. Again, you got to go back, 8 years ago to Dirk was really the last one that I see. Some could say LeBron, maybe in some, but obviously Kyrie was there, even though LeBron may have drug that team along. But we want to know from you guys. I'm going to ask you first, Jimmy. Ask you guys watching here on YouTube, our 4th of July free agency special. When is the time and date of the Kawhi announcement? And if you think you know it, baby, if you think you can tell it, we're going to hook you up with an awesome prize if you get it to the exact minutes. You got to send us an email, Kawhi@chatsports.com, and say, hey, July 4th, you can mention the time zone if you want. That makes it a little bit easier. But go ahead. We're in Central Time Zone here in the Chat Sports Studio in Dallas. Jimmy, want to know from you. Everybody start getting going in the comments section here live on YouTube. Also, email it. Start with your prediction, Jimmy.
My original prediction was July 3rd at 3:04 p.m. It is now July 4th at 10:33 a.m., so that obviously was incorrect. My new updated free agency Kawhi announcement prediction is July 5th. 5:02 p.m. I think it's going to be randomly just kind of early in the evening. Everybody's getting off work, but not Kawhi. Kawhi's ready to make sure everybody knows where he's going at 5:02 p.m. July 5th.
I'm going to go July 5th. I'm going to go 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central. Tomorrow night, late night. He's just sitting on a boat somewhere. Maybe it's in Canada. Maybe it's in LA. Who the hell knows? There was the Kawhi watch yesterday via the planes and helicopters and all that good stuff. But predict for us in the comments. Let's take a look at what that Lakers lineup would look like with Kawhi Leonard if he decided to go through the Lakers. Jimmy, we've got 4 names up there, and then the free agent TBD. So what does this Lakers team look like with Kawhi Leonard next year?
I mean, look, LeBron, at this point, he runs your point guard position. Rajon Rondo's still on the market, but I think you just let LeBron run the point, and you put a shooter in there at the 2-guard position. Like, heck, they just signed Troy Daniels. Whoever it may be, Kyle Korver, maybe they throw in Iguodala. They can literally throw anybody in at the 2-guard, and it makes sense because all that matters is that you have LeBron, you have Kawhi, and you have Anthony Davis. And then Kyle Kuzma is still an incredible scorer at nearly 19 points per game. I mean, the Lakers are going to be the next super team if this actually ends up happening.
And I'm not a big Anthony Davis guy. I think someone in the league 7 years should have more accomplished than he have if he's a top 5 player like many people think. I do not think. But if it was LeBron, Kawhi, and Anthony Davis, I will admit this is the team that has the most high-level talent, the best big three as far as just pure basketball talent and accomplishments. LeBron and Kawhi won titles as the best player on 2 different teams,
yeah, absolutely. 2
different franchises. LeBron 8 straight finals. Kawhi basically ended the Miami Heat dynasty in 2014. Basically ended the modern, the Warriors dynasty as we know it in 2019. So amazing accomplishments for him on 2 different franchises. But what if he goes, Jimmy, to the Clippers? What does that team look like?
I mean, look, this is the sleeper at this point in the Kawhi race, in the Kawhi watch. But if he goes there, I mean, number one, he is automatically the number 1 guy, without a doubt. And then you have a young up-and-coming point guard in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who could be, I think, in the running for most improved player next season. Patrick Beverley comes back. He's a defensive-minded guy. If you have Patrick Beverley, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Kawhi in the same lineup, nobody's scoring on you, but they can still get buckets because you got Danilo Gallinari and Montrezl Harrell. Of course, Lou Williams is a 6th Man of the Year candidate. He'll be there as well next year. Should Kawhi decide he wants to surprise us all and end up going to the Clippers, I still don't think it happens, but I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility because nothing's out of the realm of possibility with this guy.
And so the Toronto Raptors, take us through the Toronto Raptors. What do they look like next season if they keep Kawhi Leonard on this NBA championship roster?
I mean, look, it is almost the exact same championship roster that they had. Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell. Maybe Danny Green comes back. He takes a pay cut, goes back to Toronto to join Kawhi Leonard. Marc Gasol came back on the player option. I think that was an incredible deal for them and for Gasol. Siakam is expected to take an even bigger step forward next year. Of course, you got Fred VanVleet coming off the bench, stepped up in big ways in the NBA championship. And look, OG Anunoby wasn't healthy almost all season long. I think he's an important player for them. He's an important defensive guy for them that can back up Kawhi Leonard should he return to Toronto, which at this point I still think is very, very likely.
Sure. And so who is the favorite in that scenario? He goes back to the Raptors. Is it the Raptors or is it this Lakers team with LeBron, Kuzma, and Anthony Davis?
I think you got to give it to the Raptors there because you look at what the Lakers would bring in potentially if Kawhi leaves. It's like a Danny Green, a Marcus Morris. Maybe they just bring in Korver and Iguodala. That's great. Those are great pickups. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't push you into automatic favorites for the title. I think you got to let the defending champions have that reign.
All right, so we've got some more Kawhi Leonard news coming up here, Jimmy, in just a second. Before we get to that, want to tell you guys about the MyBookie hookup of the summer. We need one of those rap horns. The yeah, you got it.
There you go.
We're hooking you guys up with the NBA jersey of your choice. Got to be a current player, though. If you get going with our sponsor, MyBookie, go to the website at the bottom of the screen, chatsports.com/NBA now. It's the name of the show, guys. Pretty easy to remember. Chat NBA is your promo code. It should populate for you there. When you make your first deposit, $50, $100, $200, $300, we will send you a free jersey. To redeem the free jersey, you've got to email promo@chatsports once you make your first bet. So don't be sending us an email saying, hey, I want the free jersey, unless you get going with MyBookie. It is the best deal. We are hooking you guys up without question. Make sure you're going with MyBookie, chatsports.com/NBA now. Promo code ChatNBA. Let's keep it moving, Jimmy, to the New York Knicks and their egregious, crazy decision that came out late last night that we're reporting on here this morning, that they chose not to take a meeting with Kawhi Leonard. What world are we living in?
Look, if I have one word to explain everything going on with the New York Knicks, from the time of the trade deadline to now, it's abysmal. I mean, just abysmal. If you're a New York Knicks fan, I don't know how you're still surviving right now because it's so sad that they said, oh man, Kawhi Leonard, apparently what the rumor was is that he wanted to wait until Wednesday, aka July 3rd, to give the Knicks a meeting. The Knicks said, nope, we're not going to wait on you. We don't have time. We got other bigger fish to fry. And so they said, hey, we're going to go chase our guys. Forget about it. We're pulling our name out of the race. It's July 4th. Kawhi hasn't decided. You could have had a chance to be the last meeting for Kawhi Leonard, but you pulled yourself out of the race. Fire James Dolan. I want to see a bunch of Fs roll through in the chat. Just F for fire James Dolan, because it is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. All of that, plus they said they didn't want to give a max to Kevin Durant. So the 2 best players on the market, they say, nah, we're good. We're gonna go chase bigger guys. And you know who they ended up chasing?
This
is it.
This group of, Tom had a great saying the last couple shows, the best bench in the league. But, I mean, I get Julius Randle's had a nice kind of turnaround after a rockier start with the Lakers, got shipped out of there. But this is a pretty pedestrian group of guys, Jimmy. And the fact that for basically the 10th offseason in a row, not every single one of those,
right.
but 2010, 2014, 2012, 16, 19, every other year basically, Knicks fans convince themselves that the biggest two stars in the NBA are coming to New York. LeBron, KD, I mean, they got Carmelo, but he didn't turn out to be as good as they thought he was.
Right.
And now they're going to get Kyrie, they're going to get KD, they're going to get Kawhi, and they get none of them. And the fact that they're not going to offer a max or they're going to have any sort of, I guess, bluster about when the meeting is going to happen with Kawhi is absolutely ridiculous. So this is the signups. Here's the current Knicks lineup. What do you make of this lineup next year for the New York Knicks?
Look, it's better than what it was. You've got Dennis Smith Jr., you got Alonzo Trier, Kevin Knox, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle. It's definitely better than what it was. And then you add in guys like Wayne Ellington, Reggie Bullock, Taj Gibson, and Bobby Gibson Bobby Gibson. That's Booby Gibson. Bobby Portis off the bench. It's a team that I think can fight for an 8 seed.
Yeah.
And I guess if you're a Knicks fan, that's better than sitting in the lottery once again because I know they're tired of that. I just find it hilarious that last season Zion Williamson was asked while he was at Duke. He was like, what do you think about teaming up potentially with KD and Kyrie in New York? And he said, it sounds like fun. Not one of them ends up in a New York Knicks uniform.
Well, didn't he laugh at some point about it, too? They're talking to him and RJ in the locker room at one point. But the New York Knicks have had a pretty pedestrian, pretty awful offseason, in my opinion. We're going to know from you guys here watching on YouTube live on 4th of July. Got 1,200 people watching, so thank you for spending your holiday with us. USA. Grade the Knicks offseason A, B, C, D, or F. Light up the comment section. Let's go. Jimmy, give me your grade.
James, there should only be one option up there because expectations matter when it comes to the New York Knicks.
I'm just going to get in the comments here. That's me, guys, typing F right there.
It's an F.
That's me.
Look, a good recovery, I'll admit that. But, hey, if it weren't the Knicks, if it were anybody else that had signed these guys, you would have said, dang, they had a pretty good offseason. But it was the Knicks, and they were expected to get everybody, and they got nobody.
All right, plenty more rumors coming here on NBA Now Live. 4th of July morning, Kawhi Leonard. We are waiting on the decision. Jimmy and I slept at the office last night thinking that what happens if we announce in the middle of the night, we got to be first on air to bring it to you guys. So let's hear it from the pristine Chat Sports NBA Now audience. Where will Kawhi sign? Which team will he sign? Lay up the comment section. Type R for Raptors. Type C for Clippers. Type L for Lakers. Jimmy, let's put our cards on the table. Let's put our cards on the table. What are your thoughts?
I'm going Lakers at this point. I am finally at a point where I'm pretty confident that that's where he's going to end up. And it looks like most of our audience agrees with us. There's a lot of L's rolling through the chat. I see a couple R's. Not a lot of C's. Clippers are kind of out of it at this point, but I think the Lakers have like a 50-40 edge, so it's not a lot, but it's just enough.
I'm going to say Lakers as well for just really one reason. I look at the history of the NBA. If you take the meeting, you leave. And if he leaves, like Steph Curry comes back, Clay comes back, there's a lot of other guys, Chris Paul last year, they don't go out and shop themselves and then come back to the team. If they go shop themselves, they've always left the past 10 years in this free agency, big 3 area in the NBA. So I say he leaves. If it goes there, I'm going to say Lakers. But keep in mind, though, just keep this in mind for one quick second. There's no one in the history of the NBA that has gotten better and more free agents than Jerry West, who is now basically like the consigliere of the Clippers. Also, the Clippers GM that's been there for about a year, Mike Winger, was the assistant GM for a long time in Oklahoma City. So don't count them out. Do not count them out. And don't count us out, Jimmy, because we are almost at 125,000 subscribers here on the Chat Sports YouTube channel, which was our goal by 4th of July, and we are going to get there. Thanks to you, the audience. We got, 1,300 people watching. So if we just get a half you guys, we're there. 125,000 subscribers. No one is providing more NBA content this offseason, draft, free agency, all throughout the summer than the Chat Sports YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe. We're going to keep refreshing this number. Want to make sure you guys are subscribed so you never miss a show. And when we go live, when Kawhi makes a decision, we will be the first live. We're going to be ESPN TV. We're going to definitely be here on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe. We'll update that number here coming up later in the show. All right, Jimmy, MONTA ELLIS. thinking about making a comeback. And I looked at this last night when it was reported late last night, and I'm like, oh, this guy's going to be 39, 42 years old. What is he, like 33 or something like that?
Okay, look, Monta Ellis is one of my favorite players, almost like, he is up there with like, when it comes to like underrated guys, I love Monta Ellis. And look, he is 33 because he came out of high school. He was one of those last players to kind of come out of Lanier High School. He's called the Mississippi Missile. That's what he's known for. And he killed it. You know, when he was with the Golden State Warriors early on, he was an absolute stud. And then they drafted Steph Curry. Monte said, hey, it's me or Steph. I think they chose the right choice there. But then he went to Milwaukee, kind of fizzled out a little bit. Went to Dallas, revived himself. And then he went to the Indiana Pacers. And, you know, that's kind of where he fell off eventually. Look, I think Monta Ellis can still play in this league. I watched a lot of video of his workout that he had last night. He tried out for 5 teams that were there scouting him. And you look at his career stats, you know, a guy that puts up 18 points per game, it's really solid. And most of those points come from him getting to the basket. He's not a great three-point shooter. That's kind of what pushed him out of the league so early on. But at 33 years old, I think he can be a valuable member to a contending team like the Los Angeles Lakers. Maybe he goes to a team where he actually wants to play. We'll see what happens with Monte.
There is such a great backstory behind Monta Ellis and the Warriors. If you are an NBA historian like I am, I lived in San Francisco for most of the Warriors run, Jimmy. When Monta Ellis was the star point guard, the star guard of the Warriors, they made the decision with the new ownership group with Joe Lacob to trade him out there, and many Warriors fans were mad. So mad, in fact, that when Lacob came to give like one of his introductory speeches when I believe they were retiring Chris Mullin's jersey, they rained down boos with him, and less than 4 years later, they were NBA champions in Steph Curry. So for you baseball fans who know Wally Pipp, he got hurt. Lou Gehrig comes in, doesn't sit for 4,000 consecutive games or whatever it was, 2,000. Monta Ellis is kind of the Wally Pipp of the NBA. He was the guy that got pushed out, and him and Steph are only 2 years in age apart. He's 33. Steph's going to be 31 in the next month or two. He's a summer birthday, if I recall correctly. So that is pretty crazy that all of a sudden I forgot he existed. Maybe part of the Lakers' next championship team trying to come back to the NBA. But Jimmy, we're here working hard for you guys here on NBA Now, working our butts off to make sure we bring you the latest NBA news and rumors. But want to know from you, the audience, and you, Jimmy, we're not going to be here all day. Maybe we break out for a couple hours. The better way to spend your 4th of July. Type L for the lake. Type B for the beach. You know, Jimmy, I'm not sure if I know the difference, to be honest.
What?
The lake or the beach?
James, it's an obvious answer. It's the beach.
Well, aren't they both water? Are there lakes that don't have beaches?
Oh, James. There's a clear, like if you go to Florida, you go to a nice white sand, clean water beach, or you go to the lake and you spend the day out on the boat with your buddies, whatever you're doing. So that's kind of the big difference there. I'm taking the beach every day of the week.
Okay, so you're saying beach is kind of chilling, maybe a little mojito kind of thing, laying out, relaxing. The beach, and then the lake, you're out there water skiing, playing some Kid Rock and causing a ruckus out there.
Some Nickelback.
I don't know about that. Roping boats together, tying boats together, and kind of just having a little good time. So type L for lake, type B for beach. The better way to spend your 4th of July. And by the way, we should get one of these. We should get some people to type in USA in the comments. That's what we need in the comment section here on YouTube Live. 1,400 of you guys watching NBA Now. Here, bringing you the latest NBA news and rumors on Kawhi, Monta Ellis, and more. We got some more stories coming up, but here's a good question.
This one's from producer Tad. He threw this one in. Thank you, Tad. I appreciate it because the question is there a difference between a beach and a lake? And you can type Y or you can type in, but if you type in, I have some questions about you. There's a very clear difference between a lake and a beach. So type Y or type in, and now we'll get into this next story. Another comeback story here for AMAR'E Stoudemire. He is currently a star in the Big Three. He actually is scoring. I believe he is the 4th leading scorer in the Big Three, which of course is Ice Cube's, NBA league. Very successful all of a sudden. But 36 years old. The same NBA tryout that Monta Ellis had, AMAR'E Stoudemire went to. He thinks he can still provide something for an NBA team, and maybe he can. He's a good low post scorer and rebounder.
We saw Taco Fall. Can't say Taco. Don't say Taco. Mr. Fall run up and down the court, very lumbering. Like he felt bad for him. Like, gosh, this guy feels like he's in pain. I kind of feel that's what AMAR'E Stoudemire would look like. He hasn't played, significant basketball in a number of years that I've seen at least. And being how big he is, and he's in his mid to late 30s now, I can only imagine it's tough for him to move. So I hope he doesn't come back. Honestly.
Yeah, I think he had a great career, and when you hang it up with the numbers that he did put up as an NBA player, like, it's good stuff. Like, he is very solid. He had a great career, but you got to call it, at some point. 18.9 points per game over his, long stretched out career. Here's another guy that came out of high school, so he played for a long time. Of course, the end of his career, he went and played for teams like the Dallas Mavericks, which is really random. He played for the Miami Heat, which was really random. If I still see him in that jersey, and I'm like, wait, why is he not wearing a Suns or a Knicks jersey? What's going on here? So, yeah, I think it's good for him to just kind of fizzle out over there in the big three for AMAR'E Stoudemire.
But look at these stats, though. 19 points a game, basically 8 rebounds, 1 assist. Obviously, no big deal. But, borderline Hall of Famer. He was in the 10, 12 years ago, 2004, 6, 7, 8, the early parts of the last decade. He was an all-NBA level player on one of the best teams in the NBA with the Suns, him and Steve Nash. So, big-time career. Let's just, hang him up, AMAR'E. I don't think an NBA decision to come back makes sense. But we want to know from you guys, which of these players, MONTA ELLIS or AMAR'E Stoudemire, has a better chance at a comeback? Type M for MONTA, type A for AMAR'E. Both of them a little crazy spellings of their names, MONTA, AMAR'E, but nevertheless, I'm saying MONTA over here. But what do you think, Jimmy, M or A on this one?
I'd be typing M on this one.
Yeah,
AMAR'E's game doesn't translate really well to today's NBA because now guys his size and that do what he does can shoot the three. And that was never something he had in his arsenal. And now he's a back-to-the-basket player. And back-to-the-basket game is fizzling out here now in the NBA. So I'd be typing M for MONTA. I want to see him get back into the league. But, James, we got a special promo here for our listeners on Chat Sports, our watchers, loyal watchers here.
Yeah, MyBookie is our presenting sponsor, Jimmy. As you heard a minute ago, if you watched the show before and you haven't taken advantage of it, today's the day. Give yourself a little treat for 4th of July. Get going with MyBookie, chatsports.com/NBA now. That promo code ChatNBA should populate for you. If it doesn't, type it in. 100% deposit bonus. You got to deposit. Put a 50, 100, 200 bucks down, whatever you have. And when you do, email us, promo@chatsports.com, and we will hook you up with the NBA jersey of your choice. If you're here trying to get some action, see what's going on with Kawhi, you want to get that new AD, LeBron jersey, you say, hey, I'm a KD guy. I want to get a Nets jersey, Nets fans for life. As lately as this morning, that's how long most Nets fans have been Nets fans for life. Go ahead and sign up and deposit. Place your first bet and email promo@chatsports.com, and we will hook you up. Jimmy, if you could get any of these jerseys, I see that 77 there.
Oh, yeah.
I see 77 there. Which of these would you get?
I was going to ask you this, so I'm glad you brought it up. I'm going Kristaps because I got my Luka Doncic jersey last year, but now Porzingis is ready to step onto a Dallas Maverick court. Or maybe a Boban Marjanovic Dallas Maverick jersey. Who knows? What about you, James? You could choose one free jersey. What'd you get?
I'm going with Clay.
You're a big Clay
guy. I love Clay. Love me some Clay. I like Clay Thompson. Steph, I feel, is I see too many kids all over the country wearing Steph jerseys, so I'm not trying to be one of these front runners. I think Clay is one of the more underrated players in the NBA. So go ahead and get started. Chatsports.com/NBA now. Promo code ChatNBA, and we will get you hooked up with a free jersey when you email promo@chatsports.com. Jimmy, we have got more rumors, more news coming up here on Chat Sports for you guys live watching here on YouTube. We've got stories coming up on a little Kevin Love for Gordon Hayward trade potentially, and Andre Iguodala potentially getting bought out, not getting bought out. So we'll get to those stories here in just a second. So keep it rolling. We'll get to you guys when we'll get those stories coming up right now. But right now, we want to ask you guys to type S if you are already subscribed to the channel here, Chat Sports. Type S. Let's light those S's up, baby. I'm going to type. We got a super chat coming through there from Ready Set. I'm going to make sure we read that one while we're here in the chat. Did I miss it?
No, I got it. Ready Set Show podcast says, love the show, guys. Keep up the good work. Hey, that's what we do here at Chat Sports. We only put out quality content that you guys love and enjoy on Chat Sports. So if you're not subscribed, don't hit S yet. First, hit the big red button, type S, get subscribed to youtube.com/chatsportstv because, hey, it's the NBA offseason. I don't know if you guys have missed it, but every day I have been live here with my guy Harrison Graham, once with Tom Downey, now with the undisputed king, James Yoder. But now it's time for more rumors, and we're getting into a guy that you know and love in Andre Iguodala.
You know, I I like Andre on the court. I do think he has consistently put his foot in his mouth when he gets to the offseason. He has done this every offseason for like the last 4 years. He's trying to be some sort of like tech luminary investor, although he can never actually speak to investments he's actually made. If you've seen him in past seasons on CNBC, he'll talk about like, oh, what are your favorite tech investments? So he'll be like, oh, Google and Facebook. Come on, Andre. Now he's got a book out, and the book's not going to do anything towards what your contract is, $15, $16, $18 million a year. But he put his foot in his mouth with the Warriors medical staff.
Sure did.
Also trying to say the Warriors and some other NBA people blackballed Mark Jackson for his stance on gay marriage. But the word now is that potentially the Grizzlies, where we all thought they were just going to buy him out of his contract, free up some room, and then he was going to sign on with potentially the Lakers for a vet minimum, whatever it was. Now it sounds like they might not be. Jimmy, what do you know about this story?
Yeah, it sounds like he's going to be on the move via trade. The Grizzlies want to get some assets for him, which it's pretty interesting. They got some assets for taking him on. They got a first-round pick, and now they want to get assets that will actually send him out to another team, because obviously they don't want to pay his salary. He is a veteran. You know, they don't really need that much veteran presence because they're such a young team ready to go. But one team that's interested, the Houston Rockets. Chris Paul, James Harden. That's your big two, your big duo right there. Clint Capella, they couldn't move him. So he's still in the middle, and PJ Tucker. But then you add Iguodala in there. All of a sudden, you've got three defensive-minded guys, Iguodala, Clint Capella, and PJ Tucker, alongside two offensive-minded guys in Chris Paul and James Harden. I like this for the Rockets. This also puts Eric Gordon off the bench, where he is better as a sixth man. But Houston is not the only team that is interested, and actually, they're not the only team from Texas that's even interested. According to Tim McMahon late last night, the report came out that it is between the Houston Rockets, who would actually, I think this would be a really good lineup, and the Dallas Mavericks, which is a little bit more interesting to me because they are a younger team. But if you add in a vet like Andre Iguodala, maybe they make a push for the playoffs. That's what they hope to do next year.
Are you disappointed the Mavs didn't make a bigger splash in free agency?
Oh, for sure. I think Mavs fans everywhere kind of thought, hey, Kemba Walker was our guy, and then it was Malcolm Brogdon, and then they thought it was Patrick Beverley. None of those ended up working out. And so now, you know, they end up with Seth Curry. They got Boban Marjanovic. Two, quality signings, but they need more, right? They're going to chase Danny Green. They're going to chase Marcus Morris. But if they go the trade route, Iguodala makes a lot of sense for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, for sure. And, he's a guy that's he's not as old as some people think. I think some people think he's been around forever. But, he went to the Warriors as a fairly big-time free agent, not a max guy, but then took that role as a sixth man. So, and has been absolutely, key to their championship run. Won an NBA Finals MVP. Steph Curry doesn't have one. Obviously, KD got the last two. But Andre Iguodala, not a sure thing to be waived, to be let go by the Grizzlies. Potentially some trades out there. Might end up here in the great state of Texas. Now, we've got a potential big-time NBA trade that's being talked about out there this morning, Jimmy. Kevin Love, the third man in the Cavs' big three with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, might be headed to Boston in exchange for Gordon Hayward and some draft picks. So tell me the latest on this story here.
Look, it's something that's been thrown out there, something that, I think both teams, that their fans want them to consider. But, hey, Hayward, not 100% on his injury. First-round pick and a second-round pick kind of gets Cleveland to take him on. And then Kevin Love goes to Boston, where he can compete for a title, I believe. But I like Cleveland, getting Gordon Hayward. I think they get a veteran that's also young still, and he can, if he recovers from that injury fully, this lineup that they could have in Cleveland's pretty interesting. You get two guards in Sexton and Darius Garland, and you drafted Garland. Then you throw in Nance Jr. because Kevin Love's out of that power forward position. Tristan Thompson, no matter what you think about him, and Khloe Kardashian, he's probably your starting center there. And then Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
So I like it for Cleveland, but I like it more for Boston.
Hey, John Beeline's going to have this team as a 7 seed going to the Final Four, right? That's all I'm seeing on there. How about the Celtics if they get Kevin Love up to Boston? I mean, I'll tell you what. I thought Kyrie was, with Kemba, I kind of thought was addition by subtraction. I kind of thought Kyrie had become toxic, so I like the Kemba move. You had Kevin Love probably back with a much better offensive coach than he's had there at Cleveland over the past 5 seasons now that he's been there. I actually like this Celtics team a lot if they were to get Kevin Love. I think, people might call me crazy. I think it's the top 3 seed in the East, personally.
I don't think you're crazy at all for that. I love the addition of Kemba. Great recovery there. I think Enes Kanter is a good player. Now, that your only problem becomes with this team is the defense, because outside of Jaylen Brown, none of those other 4 can play a lick of defense. But what really matters is what you guys think of this trade. So we want to know from you. We want to see the comments rolling in here on Chat Sports. Who wins it? Is it Boston? Or is it Cleveland getting Gordon Hayward and 2 picks, which is kind of a big deal? What do you think, James?
That's type B. It's type C in the comments. I think it's personally, I would say Boston. So I'm going to get in the comment section and type some Bs. Kevin Love, people call me crazy on this, and we've joked about this. Call me crazy, but think about this for a second, Jimmy. When he was traded a few years ago to the Cavs, he had very similar stats than Anthony Davis did or Chris Bosh did when they teamed up with LeBron. Didn't turn out to be that kind of player, but I think he's a potential, still has, 18 points, 10 rebounds in a game. Pair him with Kemba Walker. Not a lot of ego on that lineup for the Celtics.
I like
so
that too.
I think it's 4, 5, 6 guys deep in the Celtics. I think they would win the trade, put them back in championship contention personally.
Yeah, I agree.